Many Canadians and businesses who have been hurt by this COVID-19 pandemic have also seen support of various kinds from various levels of government. One of the questions, of course, is the longer this goes on and as that support is withdrawn, will we see a spike in defaults of those indebted businesses and Canadians? Bruce Sellery is with us now. He is the brand new CEO of Credit Canada. Bruce, thank you for being with us.
On my very first day. How's that? I get to go on BNN Bloomberg.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I think I insisted that I'd be your first interview. One of the reasons why I think it's important, and people who will be familiar with you know you're a personal finance expert. We often rely on you to talk about how people can manage their affairs, what they should be thinking about. Obviously, this hits a very sweet spot for you in this new role. So let's just start with the lens that Credit Canada has on the situation, because we've heard that defaults are really low and actually bankruptcies are lower than the historical norms. We feel like there's we're in the eye of the storm, Bruce. What does Credit Canada think?
100%. We haven't seen all those worrying metrics yet, and for good reason, because there was so much support. But 2021 is going to unfold in a very different way. I mean, for so many reasons than 2020. We will see the deferral programs wrap up. We will see the government supports wind down in some way, and we'll also see interest rates rise. Now, that is a big question, but just by way of example, we did see last week that TD increased its rate on its 5-year fixed rate mortgage. So that is going to happen. How quickly that has an effect on regular Canadians to be determined, but you can bet we expect our phones could well ring off the hook.
So what do you think people need to know, and potentially, Bruce, people who've never thought about this before, but if they feel close to the edge, and I know this would, again, go back to your long history in personal finance, at what point do you put your hand up and say, I might need help? Do you wait until it's obvious? Do you try to get in front of it? What are the downsides here?
You pick up the phone right away. And Credit Canada is Canada's longest standing nonprofit credit counselor. There are others across this country, in all the regions of this country. You pick up the phone and call. And the reason you call is you will get a free debt assessment. One of our counselors or any of the other counselors will go through the basics, the income, the expenses, the assets, the liabilities, and they'll be able to tell you what some of your options are. And just knowing what your options are, as soon as you can start to comprehend that you might need more help, can really reduce the anxiety here. So for a small portion of people, they will be looking at more significant interventions. But for many people, it's about something simpler, budgeting, maybe a debt consolidation program. So have that information. It's free. I sound like an infomercial here. It's free to call, but it is an organization that has been around for a very, very long time, doing just this very, very thing, providing support, helping Canadians get out of debt so they can get back to life.
It's not an irrelevant point, though, and I think people who need help are sometimes not thinking super clearly, right? And they may reach for the first thing that they see. Why does it matter that Credit Canada is nonprofit? Well, I guess let me put that another way. Why does it matter that your services are free? You're not going to charge people or take a piece of the action, because some credit counseling services do, and they may be good, but that's a very different story.
Yeah, I think, listen, I think this is a social service at base. We look at, as Canadians, we have an expectation that there is a social safety net in so many different areas of life: health, education, mental health, and in the way that we can improve our management of these credit tools out there. So I think that's really important. There are many, many different organizations coming at this problem in different ways. Some are for-profit, some are not for-profit, some are massive institutions, and some are local grassroots. But I think the nonprofit credit counselors should be the first call, because they have the perspective on all these different options. And some people may actually need to pursue something in which there is a more formalized relationship with lenders and their fees and agreements and things that are going to impact your credit score potentially for years. And it's really important to start with, here's the buffet of options, because there are many.
And as we know, you mentioned the consumer proposal. These have become more popular in recent years, and I know it's something that many in the whole industry, I would call it the bankruptcy support industry, thinks is very positive. Just for people that don't know about that, what is a proposal versus an outright bankruptcy? How is it better or different?
Well, the simplest thing is that the consequences are less significant. So a bankruptcy, you're starting fresh. A consumer proposal allows you to retain assets, and it's a very different structure. This is a licensed world. The licensed insolvency trustees are regulated, and they can walk you through the pros and cons of those sorts of things. And that may be the right choice for many people, but it's important to have all the information, because it may be that a debt consolidation program, it makes sense for you, in which you come to an organization like ours. We can negotiate on your behalf with creditors, come up with a way to reduce those interest expenses and consolidate it in one monthly payment. There's a small fee for that, but it's not a significant one. And then you've got a path forward that can help you in a sustained way, right? Because a lot of people are, reaching at straws and grabbing for things and finding, payday loans, for example, that cost egregious amounts of money to support, instead of fixing something foundationally and sustainably.